Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tire Talk, where we talk all things about F1. And what a race we just had! Amazing, absolutely brilliant race at Austin, Texas. The race was just simply phenomenal. And I'm so excited. I'm so smiling because Ferrari got 1-2 in that race. And what an amazing first lap we had in that race. But let's start from the beginning. I think we have a lot to talk about today, and I have with me Arpit, who is also a Ferrari fan. Interestingly, we both watched the whole race together, and it was just a phenomenal race. I mean, the sprint was also amazing. Sprint was also quite interesting. Sprint qualifying was interesting. The qualifying was interesting. Overall, the it was so competitive. We never knew who's going to win, and we knew that Ferrari was super strong throughout the race. I think Sainz was like absolutely brilliant. He was throughout the sessions, all the sessions. Sainz was pretty fast, but I think Verstappen managed to get an amazing sprint qualifying done, where he got pole position, and he never looked back from that. I think he won the sprint quite comfortably. I think one interesting point I want to mention about about the sprint race is that, I mean, Norris significantly fell off, and that was an indication for the race, right? Norris significantly fell off in the later parts of the race, where in the sprint race, where he was overtook by Sainz, and Leclerc also almost overtook him. Just that initially, during the first few laps, Sainz and Leclerc went against each other, and I think that cost them a lot of time, and that's why they couldn't both overtake Norris. I think what my feeling is that if Sainz and Leclerc wouldn't have competed earlier in that race, probably one of them would have won the race. Who knows? Because the speed was there. We saw it all over the weekend, and I think Sainz was just phenomenal. Leclerc was mind blowing in the final race. What do you think, Arpit? What are your thoughts on the entire weekend, on the sprint qualifying, the race qualifying, and the final race?
Yeah, so you have covered everything, but I'll start from the beginning probably. When you said it has a lot of things, the sprint was there, then qualifying, and then the race. I think seeing the last race as well, the Singapore one, if it's about Ferrari, if they get a good position in the qualifying, they would have got the result out. But
Yeah,
that was the past, right? But now in the USGP, they went really strong, and the best part which I find out is the attacking nature, which even
Hmm.
Science mentioned in the interview as well later on. Like they went on with the full attacking approach, and I think the new upgrades are helping Ferrari a lot as well. They have not done the upgrade this week, but previous upgrade is doing really good, and hopefully they didn't mess up in the strategy as well. That's the big thing. I mean, the car is really good. They have good drivers, and mainly they just fumble sometime in the strategy. But this time they went right.
Yeah.
Coming to the sprint part, I think you're absolutely right. The way the sprint started, initially they just went and the out like the outside of the circuit, and it give Norris an advantage to go and overtake and take the lead. But apart from that, I think they're doing pretty well, and the way they are fighting, I think that costed them the point in the sprinting as well. if
Yeah.
they if they have a better plan, if they went with a better strategy of not fighting with each other and probably just try to cover gap with the other drivers in front, they would have got probably second, third as well, because in the
Yeah.
end Norris was looking clueless.
Yeah.
His tires were his tires were gone completely,
Yeah.
and he was just waiting for something to happen in the race and probably get a second spot. But then coming to the qualifying, I think there's a bit of thing when Hamilton got out in the Q3, and that at that moment I think for Mercedes it was done, because starting from 16th position, you can't expect. I mean, you can expect from Lewis, he can come up from
Yeah.
any position, but again, coming from a 16th position, there's very little chance of
Yeah.
that. So that's I think Mercedes as well. They just went out of the picture for top. And in the race, I mean, seen the race, and from the beginning itself, the Ferrari was amazing, and they just went on
Yeah.
attacking and taking the lead against other drivers.
I think
So
what has changed in the last few weeks is that you're seeing amazing tire management from Ferrari. I think
yeah,
they have worked on the tire degradation part, and I think in the last few races we have seen whenever Leclerc has managed to pit later or little later than other drivers, he's managed to make it a one-stop strategy and he's managed to complete the race. And in most occasions, he's won the race. So I think tire degradation is a very important factor. I think that also played into Ferrari's hands during the sprint as well as during the final race. Interestingly, what I feel my whole analysis of the weekend is that it was all about consistency. So Ferrari was consistent throughout the weekend, whereas McLaren was good on some occasions, Red Bull was good on some occasions, Russell was good in sprint qualifying, but was not good in qualifying and the races at all. So that's where I think Ferrari made a difference. I think Sainz was extremely consistent. Sainz came second in the sprint race also, and in the final race also he came second. I think Leclerc, probably the sprint qualifying cost him a bit. Otherwise, even in the sprint race, he would have been either easily on the podium, but he would have even won the race. So I mean that's what I feel. I mean Leclerc was flawless today. I mean the moment he started the race and he got that lead, I think he just kept on going. I think he opened up a 10-second lead at one point, and as soon as all the cars pitted almost near to each other, we knew that Ferrari had won the race because there was no chance of any we there was no chance of any safety car coming into play. Or I was worried about that. I mean, I was worried about safety car coming into play and Norris again winning from nowhere, right? Like he did in one of the races. I think that was the worry that I had. But I think as soon as everyone pitted for the first time, I think it was done because probably Leclerc again opened up a 10-second, 15-second lead over the third and fourth, and I think that was pretty much done. I think that's what my opinion is.
Yeah, you're talking about Norris. Probably you're talking about the Miami Grand Prix because in Miami
Yeah,
he took the advantage of the safety car, went
yeah.
ahead and took a quick lap,
Yeah,
and
it was
then
Miami or Germany, I don't remember, but it was one of
yeah,
the races somewhere in Europe or Miami, I don't remember. But I think that safety car was completely played into Norris's hands, and Leclerc was winning that race also. I think safety car completely ruined Ferrari's strategy on that day.
yeah. Yeah, another thing about science which I found good is in the races he didn't he caught out his problems very quickly. I mean, I've
Yeah,
seen in the initial laps he was facing some problem in the car, and he just pointed it out quickly and resolved it, and and that also is a big factor
yeah,
in
yeah,
his podium position, right? One more thing which I think I missed out while talking out is the Verstappen and the Norris
yeah,
battle in the
yeah,
later half of the race.
yeah, yeah.
I
I was going to
think,
come to that. Yeah,
yeah, I think we should talk about that a bit more.
yeah.
You can start first, then I'll put my point on
Yeah,
it.
I think what I feel is I think that was I mean Max on the first half of the weekend showed why he's the world champion. I think sprint qualifying and and the sprint race he was absolutely flawless. He won both the sprint qualifying and the sprint race. I mean he was like miles ahead of the competition. I mean not miles ahead of the competition I would say, but considering the car he had and the performance he got out of the car was amazing. And even in the final race, we saw, I mean, even he could have got the sprint, I mean, he could have got the race qualifying also, he could have got pole. Just that the Russell went and crashed into the wall. Otherwise, Max would have got the pole for the race also. So I think he was absolutely flawless. And the way I mean, we always knew that over a longer race, I think Ferrari would come into play, McLaren would come into play, and Red Bull would struggle. So that's what happened, I think. But whatever Max could get out of the car, he absolutely got 100% out of the car. And the way he kept Piastri behind for almost 10 to 15 laps on used tires. I mean, there was a significant tire offset. I think probably Norris pitted like almost 9 or 8 laps or 10 laps probably behind after Verstappen. And he still managed to keep Norris behind until the last few laps. And eventually Norris had track limits and he anyways got a penalty. So, I mean, it was amazing how Verstappen got the podium. And I think that this podium pretty much will again help him to get the championship. I won't say it seals the championship, but I think this pretty much nails down. It's one more step on that, one more foot on that top step of the championship. I think he's very close to it. I think if he wins one of the races in the next few races, I think he will probably win the championship easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean the way he showed his skill in the last later half of the race is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
For me, even the stats were coming out on the race, and there was there were huge difference in what Verstappen is getting from the car and what Norris is getting.
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of time on the radio saying Verstappen saying that I'm getting a lot of steer in the car, and car is not giving good power back and all those things. But still,
yeah,
he showed his skill and his why he's three-time world champion. And
yeah.
that come like that took me to another point, which is the other Red Bull partner of Max Verstappen, that is Sergio Perez.
Yeah, yeah,
So
he's been having a horrible season,
yeah,
and it's like writing on the wall. I mean, it was always going to happen because Perez didn't perform during the later half of the last season, and I think this season he has been struggling like crazy. I think the first few races he did well, but apart from that, I think he's been totally out of color. I think it's similar story to Ricardo. I think at one point championship contenders, but now nowhere in the picture. I mean, pretty much he doesn't even get a podium these days. So I mean, it's surprising. Yeah,
and surprisingly, I was thinking in later in the day today, probably the way science is leaving now, and Hamilton will be joining Ferrari. Do you think at one point Red Bull could have thought of replacing Perez with Sainz? I mean, you are talking about a big rivals signing player from each other, but that's the same case for Hamilton as well,
yeah.
going from Mercedes to Ferrari. So what's your thought on that point?
No, I think that's a brilliant decision that Hamilton has taken. I think it's not. I think one part of it is also legacy. I think every top driver has somewhere down the line has driven for Ferrari, and I think it was going to happen. I think it was all about when it's going to happen, and I think Hamilton took this chance at the right time because I think Mercedes have not been contenders for the championship in the last few seasons. I mean, not in the last few seasons. In fact, last four seasons. And I think Ferrari with Hamilton and Leclerc, I think could definitely challenge for the championship. I think one of them will definitely be in a championship winning position next season, somewhere down the line. So I believe it's a right decision that he's taken. And I think Hamilton has been struggling with Mercedes. I think Russell has been doing well compared to him. I know Hamilton has won few races, but I think again that's all about his genius. I think the car is still far behind Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull. I feel, yeah,
Yeah, right.
overall.
I think we're talking about Hamilton. There's not much to talk about him in the race. He
Yeah,
got
yeah.
the DNF
What
in
I mean,
the starting laps.
again, Russell doing well in qualifying and severely underperforming in the race. I mean, sorry, I mean, I think Russell. I don't remember. Let me just check where Russell qualified in the
Actually,
qualifying.
Russell started from the pit lane, and he was disqualified from the
Oh,
qualifying
okay. Got
yesterday.
it, got it. So I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he gained a lot of places. I think he finished sixth. So that's. I wouldn't say bad performance, but I think his crash in the qualifying, I think, pretty much sealed his fate. Really, I mean, and but notable point was Russell qualified second in sprint, and then later on he just fell off. I think Mercedes had absolutely no pace compared to Ferrari and the other teams. I think that's what I feel. I think, and I mean, Ferrari with this kind of setup now, what they can do is they can always be in the top five in the qualifying, and they can straight away challenge for the win. I think it's better for them not to finish on pole. I mean, not to get pole, because what I feel is whenever they get pole, somewhere something or the other happens, they get a strategy wrong. They, I think, overthink the strategy. Whereas if they're in that second to fifth spots, I think they do really well in terms of strategy. I think they have the pace, they have the car, and they have the drivers to win races. So I think even in the next few races, you will see some amazing performances.
Right. Now we are seeing let's talk about a bit on the table as well. I mean, the driver championship is completely. I would not say it's open, but it's
Yeah.
still challengeable for at least the second position, because now it's a very fewer gap between Verstappen, Norris, and Leclerc as well.
Yeah. I
So
think I think constructors is done. I think I don't think so. Any team will close up that gap, because I don't think so. Piastri and Norris both are not. I mean, they always finish in top 10. I think in fact, not in top 10. They always finish in top six. So I think constructors are pretty much done. I don't see anyone else winning constructors. But I think drivers, yes, drivers championship is still up for grabs. And who knows, I mean, Norris could catch up Verstappen, but right now it doesn't seem like that. I think Verstappen is going to win it easily, because I think there's still 57-point gap, and I think 57 points is a lot, because even if Norris, like, I think Norris has to win almost like 4 races. I mean, how many races are left? I don't even remember
I
that.
think it's now 6 races are left around.
Yeah, yeah. So
It's-
I think Norris has to win like at least 50% of the races to have any chance, and he also has to worry about Verstappen not winning rest of the races. So I think it's going to be very very tough for Norris. But I think he has done a phenomenal job this season to be in that second position with Leclerc and Piastri. I think he has done amazing, because I think Piastri has the same car, and I think Piastri also equally. I mean, we should talk about Piastri also. In this on this weekend, I mean, this weekend he has really struggled, but otherwise, he has been brilliant throughout the season. What do you think about Piastri?
yeah, PS3. Seeing him from the last 3 4 races, he's been good. I
Yeah,
mean, he got a good result in Singapore. Before that
yeah,
as well, he was doing good in Azerbaijan, and that's why I think McLaren is doing good in constructor as well. It's a
yeah,
good partnership between both the drivers.
yeah,
And Piastri, what I think of him is he's more of a balanced driver, because I have not seen him going like Max Verstappen, attacking out and just flat out things and just go on attack.
yeah,
He's more of a balanced driver, and he just focus on what the strategy is going on, and how they have the what the strategy they have planned, how to work on that.
yeah,
And even I've heard it on the radio as well a lot of time for from PS3, like
yeah,
sticking to the strategy, sticking to the plan. Same for Leclerc as well. I mean, Leclerc as well today, he was a lot of he's lot into his strategy and plans thing. So he's more of that kind of driver. But one thing I have seen for Norris as well is probably what I've seen from the previous races, that he usually, when he go behind, or he's not getting the what we can say it, like the forward thing, or the
yeah.
overtakes, he just go and conserve thing, and then later on attack
Yeah, yeah. I
to
think
the
we also have to talk about Liam Lawson and Colapinto, because they finished ninth and
yeah.
10th. I think they did really well, because I think at one point I thought Alonso, Perez, and all the other, like the Haas drivers, would probably sneak the positions and sneak into top 10. But I think they did really well. I think Liam Lawson pitted very late. I mean, Colapinto, I don't know when he pitted, but I think they did a phenomenal job. Again, I think Colapinto is a very very consistent driver. I mean, given a good car, I think he would probably be in that top 5 or top 6 positions. I think he's a phenomenal driver. I think Williams have found a really good driver in Colapinto. I think he's been performing better than Albon, in fact. So that's like quite a statement from his side. And Liam Lawson, I think he is challenging for the Red Bull spot. I think if Perez doesn't succeed to, I mean, doesn't get top 5 in the next races, I mean, all the next races, I think he's going to lose that position to Liam Lawson. And I don't think so. Red Bull will worry about the contract situation, because it has to happen at some point. Otherwise, they will not win the constructors next season also. If this continues to happen, I think they need a second driver who is like equally consistent. Not I mean, no one can be Max, but I think you still have to be at least challenging Sainz and Leclerc and all these second, third, fourth positions. At least they should be challenging those positions. So I think they have to make a call on that. I don't know. I don't know how the contract situation works in F1. Maybe I'll figure it out. But I think there has to be a decision taken at some point of time. It's critical that they do something about it.
Right. I mean, Colapinto, he's driving consistently
Yeah.
from last 3 races. I've seen
Yeah.
him getting into top 10
Yeah, and he's
every
he's
time.
phenomenal. I think he's been pulling out moves over like experienced drivers like Perez, Alonso, Magnussen, Hulkenberg. I think he's been pulling out his moves. I mean, he's been phenomenal. I mean, you don't see that amateurism at all in him, or rookie thing at all in him. I mean, it feels like he's been driving this car for ages, and he just fitted right into F1. I think it's similar to the Ollie Behrman story. I think all these young drivers are just doing phenomenal. I think Norris was asked at the conference, and he said that it's all about consistently performing for the entire season, and he's right. But still, I think I don't see Colapinto like failing in one race and then succeeding in the other. I think he's been pretty much consistent in the last 3 or 4 races, that whenever he has got a chance. So I think
Yeah,
definitely things have changed in F1. I think the transition from F3 to F2 and F2 to F1 has definitely got easier, because I think these racers, I mean, these drivers who are in F2 are getting more and more chances to drive these top cars. Uh, yeah,
I think
that's
Colapinto. One thing I've seen about Colapinto is he's always head to head against Perez, even in
yeah,
the Singapore and today as well. I
yeah,
mean, he just keep on pushing against Perez and
yeah,
trying to get that spot. Eventually, Perez is getting out of it because of more maybe experience and the skill he has.
yeah, yeah.
But we have to see the car as well.
No,
I mean, Red
I think
Bull.
it's all about. I think it's two. It's either one of those things where either the car is, I mean, car is really underperforming and Max is getting the maximum possible out of the car, or Perez is doing really bad. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know which one is it, but I think if Max can get pole position and Max can win a sprint race, then definitely Perez can be in the top five. I don't think so. It's that big a difference. I think it's
yeah,
definitely both. I think the car has not been good this season for Red Bull. At the same time, Perez has been severely underperforming, and a call has to be taken on him.
right, right. I think we have covered everything for the race
Yeah,
that we've seen today, right?
I think probably we should end the episode here. I think it was an amazing weekend. I think I'm super happy that Ferrari won. I think I've been posting on Instagram, I've been posting on LinkedIn. I've been just thrilled to see. I mean, whenever Ferrari wins, it's just amazing. I mean, it's something different when McLaren wins or when Red Bull wins. I mean, you don't feel it. I think when Ferrari wins, I think that it's a legacy. I mean, it's just amazing how Ferrari, despite not being the fastest car, somehow gets the maximum and gets the. I mean, I think it's also. I don't know whether again it's the same thing like Perez and Red Bull. It's I don't know whether Ferrari with Hamilton would be championship car, but I think still Leclerc and Sainz have done a decent job. I wouldn't say they have done a championship winning job, but they have done a decent job with the car, because in a lot of races Ferrari struggled. I think they got the qualifying. They made mistakes in the qualifying. On one of the occasions, the tire was cold. So I mean, such stupid mistakes always tend to happen with Ferrari. I don't know what's the thing, but Ferrari ends up botching up the strategy on most occasions. So I think they need to buckle up there. I think if Ferrari can get the strategy right next season with Hamilton on every race, I think Hamilton will be a championship contender, and so will Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Yeah.
I
So
think coming up next, will do a preview of the next race in another episode.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think we
when
have
this
Sao Paulo, right? We have Brazil next, right? Or we have Mexico next.
next up is Mexico.
Yeah, we have Mexico next. I think that's going to be a fun race. It's going to be a home race for Perez and more
Yeah,
pressure on him. Let's see what he does. I think it's going to be severely. He's going to be under severe pressure because I mean, again, he has to do something special to retain. I mean, he's going to retain the seat, but I don't know for how long. So he has to start performing. Yeah,
and the funny thing is, if you see the results in this season, probably all the home drivers have won their home races. I mean,
yeah,
Leclerc won in Monaco and Monza for Ferrari,
yeah,
and Verstappen winning in Netherlands as well. So
yeah,
it's more like the season is going more towards the home drivers,
yeah.
and Hamilton won in the Silverstone as well.
Yeah.
So
Let's see what happens. I mean,
yeah,
it was a great weekend, and thank you everyone for sticking around. We will see you in the next episode. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel,
yeah.
the Tire Talk, and the Locker Room Stories. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And do like, share, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.